There was nothing left to point the adjuster toward. The house on the Mississippi coast was a concrete slab with 3 steps leading up to open air. The walls, the roof, the furniture, all gone in a single morning in August 2005. The homeowner had paid for hurricane coverage for 30 years. The adjuster looked at the bare foundation and asked the question that would decide everything. Did the wind take the house, or did the water? It mattered more than anything in his life. Here is the split that ran through every Katrina claim. A standard homeowner's policy covers wind. It does not cover flood. Flood is sold separately through the National Flood Insurance Program. So if wind tore the house apart, the policy pays. If storm surge washed it away, it pays nothing. And in a hurricane, wind and water arrive together, minutes apart, doing damage no surviving witness can cleanly separate. For most of insurance history, that overlap favored the homeowner. A doctrine called efficient proximate cause said that if a covered peril like wind set the destruction in motion, the loss was covered, even if an excluded peril contributed. Wind started it, so wind paid for it. So, over the years, insurers wrote a single sentence into the policy to switch the doctrine off. The sentence is the Anti-Concurrent Causation clause. At its core, it reads like this: we do not cover loss caused by water, regardless of any other cause contributing concurrently or in any sequence to the loss. Read it slowly. Regardless of any other cause, in any sequence. If excluded water plays any part in destroying your home, even alongside covered wind, the entire loss is excluded, not the water portion. The entire loss. After Katrina, that clause became the largest insurance dispute the Gulf Coast had ever seen. Insurers argued the storm surge contributed to destroying slab-cleared homes, so the whole claim was barred. Homeowners argued the wind arrived first and did most of the damage before the water rose. With the houses gone, no evidence was left. The burden fell on the homeowner standing on an empty slab, asked to reconstruct a sequence no one survived to witness. The fights went to federal court. In Leonard versus Nationwide, decided by the Fifth Circuit in 2007, the court enforced the anti-concurrent language. Where water damage was excluded and the clause was clear, the exclusion could bar recovery even when wind contributed. It told homeowners that wind coverage alone might not save a house the sea had also touched. But the law did not move only one way. In Corban versus United Services Automobile Association, the Mississippi Supreme Court drew a line. Damage already done by wind before the surge arrived was covered wind damage, and the clause could not retroactively erase a loss complete before the water reached it. The sequence mattered after all. The clause was powerful. It was not absolute. The practical result for thousands of families was a brutal middle ground. Some recovered for wind and were denied for everything attributed to water. Some settled for cents on the dollar rather than litigate for years. And some, who carried only the homeowner's policy where the surge reached, were told their 30 years of premiums bought them a denial. The same storm, the same street, opposite outcomes. The clause did not retire after Katrina. It lives in property policies across the country today, and not only against flood. It also bars claims where an excluded cause like earth movement or a maintenance defect combines with a covered one. Find an excluded peril in the chain, invoke the in any sequence language, and the entire loss can be denied. It now reaches into landslide zones, earthquake regions, and basement floods. What this means for you depends, first, on your state. A handful limit or reject anti-concurrent causation, preserving the older efficient proximate cause doctrine. Most do not. So the same clause, in the same national policy form, can be enforceable in one state and unenforceable across the border. You cannot read the clause and know your fate. You have to read it against your state's law. Second, the flood gap is not optional in a flood zone. The most reliable protection is to carry both policies. Homeowners coverage for wind, and a separate flood policy for the water. If you hold only the homeowner's policy and the surge reaches your home, the anti-concurrent clause can leave you with nothing. Many homeowners never knew that was the assumption. Third, document before the storm, not after. The homeowners who fared best could establish a sequence. Photographs, video, and an inventory taken before the season, then weather data and engineering testimony after, can build the wind-first timeline that Corban rewarded. You cannot reconstruct a destroyed house from memory. In a wind versus water fight, evidence is the only thing that argues for you when the house is gone. Fourth, When a total denial lands, do not accept the word entire at face value. The Corban line means a blanket denial may be overreach. Damage proven to predate the water may still be owed, even where the clause applies. That is an argument for a public adjuster or an attorney. The clause is designed to sound final. In several states, the courts have already decided it is not. Step back and see what one sentence did. It did not change a single fact about the hurricane. The wind still came. The water still came. What it changed was who carries the loss when nobody can prove the order. For generations, the law placed that uncertainty on the insurer that priced the risk and collected the premiums. The clause shifted it onto the homeowner on a slab. The man on the slab in Mississippi did not lose his house to a clause. He lost it to a storm. But whether he ever got it back was decided by a sentence written years before. The storm had a name, by people he would never meet, in language he was never told to read. The wind and the water do not care which one your policy covers. The fine print cares. It cares completely. On the morning everything is gone. The only thing between you and an empty slab is one sentence, and whether your state lets it win before the next one. This channel runs on MXEL. Creators earn crypto for the content they already make without selling anything to anyone. If you make things, it is worth a look. It is at mxl.com.